Make your next vacation unforgettable. On Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Star of the Seas, it's everything you've loved about every family vacation you've ever been on, with mind-blowing thrills at the largest water park at sea, 7 onboard pools for every level of chill, more than 40 ways to dine and drink, and even more to enjoy at our award-winning private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay. This is the new Star of the Seas. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Put us in a box. Go ahead. That just gives us something to break out of. Because the next generation 2025 GMC Terrain Elevation is raising the standard of what comes standard. As far as expectations go, why meet them when you can shatter them? What we choose to challenge, we challenge completely. We are professional grade. Visit gmc.com to learn more.
Hey, it's Sydney Sweeney. I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very jeans.
You see what I did there, right?
Icy Hot Pro with 2 max strength pain relievers. Targets multiple pain receptors. Ice works fast, heat makes it last.
Welcome into the Tour Coach, everybody. I'm your host, Tony Ruggiero. Thanks for sitting in. If you're passionate about the game of golf, you love the game of golf, whether you're a coach, a teacher, or a player, recreational golfer, touring professional, aspiring to get better, I think some of the information you're about to hear can help you. These are the conversations with the people that I meet, the coaches that I teach with that I find interesting, the caddies, the fitness experts, mental coaches, or players or students that I meet in my journey to help all of you play better golf. And these are the conversations we have. They're authentic, they're real, you'll laugh, some will make you think. All of it is designed to help you play better golf. I hope you enjoy these conversations, and if you like these, look, you can always go find more of our content, which is available for you on YouTube, on DewsweeperTV. That's at DewsweeperTV on YouTube. All of these, you can watch the video, but you can also watch some of our productions where you can watch us go one-on-one behind the scenes with a real player as we all work together to help people play their best. So check out DewsweeperTV. Please keep listening to the Tour Coach here. I hope you like the conversations. I'm enjoying putting the stuff out, and I enjoy this journey helping all of you play better golf. And once again, though, none of this would be remotely possible without our long-time sponsors, especially Cleveland Shrixon Golf, Mitch McConnell and McConnell Automotive, Buick GMC, Bushnell, Stokely's Midtown Garden Center, Taylor Martino and Rowan in Mobile, all of the great sponsors, and especially our new one, because there's going to be some fun nights ahead, Epic Western Tequila Drink, coming at you live from Texas. So appreciate our sponsors, appreciate all the people that sit and chat with me, and we're going to look forward to bringing you more tour coaches and more content as we help all of us play better golf there on Dewsweeper TV. All right, so joining me here on the Tour Coach, we were supposed to do it a week ago, but I got messed up on my time. So he was nice enough to carve out some more time, but good friend of ours, great quarterback, aspiring to become a great golfer. He spent some time in the Bay here. He spent a bunch of, we used to do some lessons over in the old days over at the Country Club of Mobile back in that building. I remember the first lesson, but AJ McCarron, obviously one of the great Alabama quarterbacks. AJ, thanks for sitting in. How you been doing, buddy? First of all, how are we doing with that club face at the top of your golf swing?
Much better, much better. I have been working nonstop on it, probably pissing the wife off a little bit because I come up here every night into my theater, and it's a bigger room, and I went and bought a ton of these foam golf balls, and I'm up here just filming myself, looking back, going to watch it, making sure my wrist is bowing at the top, club face is staying square, and still working on, which is kind of crazy, but not, I guess, for playing the same way for so many years, slowing my hips down and not really rotating like I do in football as much, or as fast, and trying to get my weight shift right and all that. But the swing actually feels really good. But we'll really be able to tell today when I come in later today for a lesson.
I know. I can't wait. I'm gonna hang out and watch you and Morgan work. I'll pitch in and be the peanut gallery here a little bit. One of the things I've tried to do over the years is we've worked, and obviously Morgan helping as well, is take your incredible athletic ability and your experience as a quarterback and transfer that to your golf swing, especially the loading in and firing off the right side. Like, how do you use your experience in playing sports, especially at such a high level, to getting better at golf? And then kind of a follow-up question is like, how are there similarities and what are the differences between, like, if you go back to where you were really, when you were young, learning how to be a quarterback and change motions and work on things in your throw motion versus working on your golf swing? That's what kind of, I mean, like, shit was for you, was learning to throw and improve your quarterback. Was it as hard as golf?
No. Listen, the game of golf is by far the hardest thing I've ever had to do to be somewhat successful at it. I think what I take from playing football for so many years and trying to be successful at a high level is, you really, for the game of golf especially, you have to commit unlike anything else. I mean, like I said, coming up here every night, I probably spend, for the past, I'd say 2 weeks, I've spent probably 2 hours up here every night, just repping and hitting balls and filming myself and breaking it down, and of course sending you clips and sending.
I get those video clips. When the first one you sent, I was like, "Is he in his house?"
Yeah. I'm up in my theater. This is about the only room I got to design in our house. The wife designed everything else, but this is my getaway, and for now, until I build a little simulator and everything, a part of the house. But listen, it really is tough. Like, one thing I think playing at a high level and for so many years has really taught me is to get to that point and to be successful like you want to be successful is dedication. And being able to work when people aren't around. Like, it's easy to come to a lesson, just like, a golf lesson is the same as going to a coach or going to practice. It's easy to do that because everybody's around. You got somebody working with you. You have guys to compete against, and there's motivation from that standpoint, rather than being able to find the motivation to really compete within yourself day in and day out is one thing that I've learned from playing for so many great coaches and playing the game for so long. And it's really helped me, shift towards golf as I've gotten older and wanting to be successful in golf. Like, I don't want to go out and just have a really good day and for me and shoot 77, 78, and then have a day where I'm shooting, upper 80s. Like, I don't like that. It really pisses me off as a competitor. And so I just want to have those days and be a consistent player. And you really do have to dedicate yourself to getting up here and hitting balls on your own and filming yourself and then knowing what you're doing wrong. I think that's the hardest thing in golf for me. And I'd probably say, I mean, you have way more opinion and experience on this, but for me is knowing in the game of golf, the hardest thing is knowing what you're actually doing wrong. For, I would say, probably 90% of golfers, because your body goes back to just doing what you feel is right. And what comes, second nature to you, like, but really and truly, it's just so wrong. And I've learned that over, the years doing lessons with you, where I got to get out of my comfort zone and really be comfortable being uncomfortable in a certain swing and getting on a certain plane and finishing a certain way and everything. And I've played baseball for so long. I think that has a lot to do with it as well, as a baseball player. But I would say that being able to dedicate yourself and really compete against yourself day in and day out is probably the hardest thing to do in all sports, but especially in golf.
You talked about feedback and things feeling uncomfortable. And I think that one of the things I learned early in my teaching career, my old mentor was, he was one of the great old golf coaches, and he had a saying. And at the time, I kind of like, shit, it didn't seem as big a deal as it does now. But he would always say that we have to quit confusing comfort with correct, right? And I think that as golfers and even as teachers, like, we just assume that if it feels good or it feels right, that it's what we're doing it's right. Correct. And then we get pissed when the results aren't. But you were talking about the ability to work on something away. Like, I have students, even young pros, and like, I think these young pros, and I'm sure in football you were around guys that were crazy talented, but maybe didn't put the work in, right? Like, and you see these guys that are crazy talented at golf. And one of them in particular, I don't work with him anymore, but when he was on the range, he was good with you and all that. But you knew when he left, he never did one thing extra that you asked him to do. And to me, one of the real things that differentiate between like people that become great at golf, and I'm curious how it is with football and obviously the people you played under, like, it's the ability not only to work extra hard, but pay attention to a lot of the small details that people think don't matter. Like 100%. You and I've talked a bunch over the years about your grip. That's not, and getting the club face square. And that may not be the sexiest thing, or how you stand and your posture. I know one video you sent, I talked about your balance and your posture, but like, to me, one of the things that is huge for developing is taking care of the small details and the things that nobody thinks are important.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and that all, correlates with the game of football. Like, you could say the same thing for, all right, guys going out, and it could be a certain technique on, just say, from playing the quarterback position. Like, how are we taking a drop? You're getting back there, but are you getting back there slower? Are you closing yourself off when you're throwing to your left and everything's facing right? Is your front knee locking out and you're not staying bent and finishing through? Are you falling away from your throws? Like, it all correlates with itself on being able to do the little things that you think, aren't a big factor. But when you look at results, it is a big factor, because you're not able to be accurate with the football, just the same as, you want the ball to be flighted one certain way, and guess what? Because you did something small, it's going complete opposite. So I think that's a huge deal. And the same way, the biggest thing is being able to work, and it's the day and age we live in now. With social media, everybody wants to post about like when they're working, which is fine to do, and it's great. But what about the other 22 hours of the day? Like, are you working then? Like, it's fine to go out and shoot a little video, but what are you actually trying to do to better yourself and better your game and really master your craft in the end? Or are you just there for likes and clicks to make it seem like you're actually putting in some work, but really and truly you're not? So I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like I said, I'm a competitor, even in the game of golf, wanting to go out and be able to play and whip somebody's ass on the course. Like, it is a big thing for me. And I like winning. I hate losing more than I like winning. So when I apply myself to something, I usually go all the way in, and the game of golf is definitely that for me.
Let's talk about coaching a little bit. As I've gone further along in my teaching career, and I've had great mentors, like the more I actually pay attention to other great coaches and try to always listen when they're talking, more than just golf swing stuff, and I always am trying to figure out, like, why were these guys so successful? I remember in college, I got to listen to Lou Holtz talk. He was talking at Samford University where I finished up. And I remember sitting there and I was like just amazed listening to him, right? And it really didn't have much to do about football. It had way more to do about just being successful in general. You played obviously for the guy, especially down in these parts. Everybody's going to say he's the GOAT. And unbelievable how he's doing on TV now. I would have never thought it would look like Saban would like being on TV as much, but he does. But what did you take from being coached by him, and share some stories? I mean, those are fascinating to me. What makes him a great coach, and what have you taken that to help you grow in your career and on all the other things you've done?
Oh, 100%. I think the biggest thing from Coach that I took, in my years with him was, and I had already had an extremely, hard work ethic, but the amount of time that he was willing to put in to the game itself to get the result he wanted. And it's cliche, he used to always say it, but you also have so many in it's changing mindset, right? And I think it relates to what we're talking about from the amount of work you're putting in, but there's so many people in the world that are result oriented, that want fast results. They want to, whether it's make a ton of money quick or, be successful, be in the spotlight, however you view it. But they don't want to do the daily grind that it takes to really get to that point. They just want fast results. And that was the biggest thing I probably took from him throughout my career at Bama, was the amount of watching him come in at 5 a.m. and be there before anybody else, and already in there breaking film down, seeing what we're doing, going through our self-scout on what are we doing good, what are we doing bad, and then going into the opponent, was something that I really took to heart and really tried to, put that into my game, especially in football, so I could achieve my ultimate goal. And listen, with that comes sacrifices, right? Like us as humans, if we're truly successful in our profession, like you're going to have to sacrifice things to get to that point. And that's whether that's time, whether that's money. And it could be both. It could be, for a long amount of time, probably 10 plus years, I didn't get to have Thanksgiving with my family. I didn't get to have Christmas. I missed birthdays. Like I missed important dates. And it was to be able to be successful and make the money that I wanted to make. And that way, when I decided to walk away from the game, that I was, had a foundation and I had enough money to go do the things I wanted to do and take care of my family the way I wanted to take care of them. So I truly took that to heart, with, listen, to be successful, you are going to have to sacrifice things in the beginning, but to achieve the ultimate goal that you want, that's what's needed. And I think that helped me tremendously throughout my career. And really, I try to apply that to myself in all phases.
You touched on it a couple of times when you talked about, I guess, basically summing it up, like the world today or this generation, like where it's instant gratification. It's about, and I know that social media is a huge part, like it's a part of my business now and content, whether we like it or not. Like my mentors are rolling over in the grave with all the shit I post nowadays, right? Because they didn't think that was important. But I remember and I tell young teachers this. I had a text from one yesterday that was like, hey, what do you really need to do to like really get good and do, and I was like, well, like for one, you got to do it for more than a year. Yeah. Right. Like, and I tell these young people that basically what you said, like, my old mentor said to me, do you want to be a good teacher or do you want to be a great teacher? Because there's a difference and the path to it is very different. And along those lines, like there are huge sacrifices. And like in the coaching ranks, like, man, I haven't done as much stuff with my daughter growing up as I probably would have liked to, Right. Heck, you and I text all the time. Hell, I'm never home in Mobile. I'm always somewhere, right? Like, but it's the same thing. Like, it's what I want to do, and I want to be good at it. And I think that's one of the things that people getting in trying to play a sport at a high level, coach at a high level, don't understand that, like, the moment that you take the video and post it isn't like you said, what do you do in the other 22 and a half hours?
Stuck in a lo-fi loop again? Hit shuffle and refresh the everyday with Mentos Gum. Pop a piece and turn that sleepy soundscape into a dance floor. Freshen up your moves with spearmint. Find freedom with fresh mint. Get juicy with red fruit lime and tropical. Or choose a different way to refresh the everyday with your favorite. Mentos Gum. Yes to fresh.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
At Starbucks, we've more than doubled parental leave for full and part-time baristas, giving them up to 18 weeks of paid time off, so they can be there for early bedtimes, late nights, first laughs, and spend more time with the best company they know. At Starbucks, benefits like parental leave are just the start. Learn more about Starbucks industry-leading benefits at starbucks.com/partners.
This episode is brought to you by Mott's Applesauce. So you're looking for a snack your kid will love and you can feel great about? Give them a Mott's no sugar added applesauce pouch. Made from real, delicious apples and a good source of vitamin C, too. Perfect for tossing in a lunchbox or grabbing for on the go. Mott's. Real apples make real good applesauce. Learn more about Mott's no sugar added applesauce at Motts.com.
Right. I think that's one of the things that in this society, and I'm sure you see it even in business, like with all your business ventures now, how many people say they want to be good at something and they want to go do a venture but like really follow through on the shit and really are willing to sacrifice and do it.
100%. I mean, that's what I said. You can see it in any phase you choose, whether it's business, it's sports. I mean, listen, I've played football since the age of 3. I started my first year. I was 3 turning 4 playing tackle football. And there's a ton of sacrifices. And then as you get older, there's different sacrifices when it comes to that, being successful. It's taking care of your body. Are you willing to spend your own money? And yes, you might have to spend $100,000 a year or $10,000 a year, whatever it takes, but for your body to get to that point to where you feel great. And I think it's the same. You can, apply that from a business standpoint as well as, we have this real estate company and I hate having to sign checks and spend money, but it's like, listen, if you want to be a top brand and you want to get your name out there more, like this is what it takes. You have to have these things. And it, you have to spend money to make money. And so I learned that a long time ago as well. And, but yeah, there are sacrifices, but how much are you willing to sacrifice, to be successful and to achieve your ultimate goal? And it's not always about money. I mean, but a lot of things we do, and especially in this world, takes money to be successful and try to master your craft.
When did you know growing up? Like, when did you know, hey, I'm really damn good at being a quarterback? Like, was there an age where you're like, all of a sudden you're like, because like we get these kids, everybody's parent thinks their kid's going to be the next Tiger Woods, right? I can't tell you how many Earl Woods I've had walk in this bay, right? And I've gotten good. I've had a bunch of good young guys. The Bobby Whites, a bunch of those guys went to Bama and different places, right? Had a couple kids become number one, and like I'll look at a kid and go, like, to me, it's interesting because to me, it's less about how good their golf swing looks and stuff. It's more about the questions they ask and just the way they are. That's a precursor for whether they're going to be really good. When did you know that, hey, man, like, I'm a little different than the other kids when it comes to playing football?
I'd probably say truly, like, believing myself was my freshman year in high school, where I knew I could play at a high level because I started as a true freshman. And I remember actually my first game to ever start, we played Carver Montgomery. And at one point in that game, it was probably after the first possession, that Tyler Siskey, our OC at St. Paul's at the time, got on the headset with me, and things were moving fast. And he said, "How you feel?" And I was like, I truly feel like they're playing with more than 11. It seems like they have like 22 guys out there right now. And as the game went on, things started to slow down for me. And I could slow the game down. And so I realized, like, especially after that game, all right, I made a bunch of good plays, but also made a bunch of bad plays, but I can build off of these good plays. And I truly started to have confidence in myself. I was always blessed. Tyler Siskey, having him in high school really was a blessing for me. Like, to have a coach that had come from college, that had played the college game as well, and really knew coverages, knew defenses, knew a pro style offense, and to really truly teach me the game and how to read coverages and everything that it goes into watching film as well, really was a blessing in disguise for me, because he truly did help my game and really instill that confidence in myself, that, hey, you can do this. Like, if you apply yourself and work, even when people aren't watching, like, you could be really good at this game. And so I would say throughout my freshman year, I really started to gain that confidence. Like, I can do this. And I could play this game at a high level for a long time. So I would say that's when I really understood that, hey, if I do this thing the right way, I can do it for a long time.
How have you've got some kids now? You're coach. You're as much a parent coaching sports as anything now.
Yeah.
How has your experience and, like, watching how his kids sports on, from what you've seen from you coming up to what it's like now, has it changed in, like, the way people are and how has your experience kind of affected what you do with your kids?
Yeah, the game has definitely changed from the time when I was coming up. Like, how travel ball was just starting, but we didn't play travel ball that much when I was about 9 or 10. And hell, they're doing travel ball at T-ball now, and traveling all over the country to play games and stuff. But we just got into the travel ball world a little with Coach Fetch, played a couple tournaments. But I think the biggest thing I've noticed when it comes to youth sports, and I've been out of it for so long, but now that the boys are in it heavy, the thing that ruins it for a lot of the kids, but especially people viewing it and having thoughts on it, or the parents themselves, because it's almost like they're trying to live a dream that they weren't able to live out through their kid. Which I understand that as well. And I don't fault him for that. I think there's a different approach to that side of it. And there's a way to be able to, push your kid and want him and teach him how to win, him or her, but without sacrificing integrity and how people view you when it comes to it. So listen, the game has definitely changed a ton for me, especially when it comes to football. Like, just knowing what I know and how long I've been playing the game, like I don't want my boys to play tackle football. My oldest, he's 8, and he's on me all the time, like wanting to play tackle football. We play flag football at their school at Mobile Christian, but I really like flag football. He's able to learn the fundamentals of the game, truly work on technique, and it's at a slower pace than going out there as a young kid and just getting your head knocked off and then kind of learning on the fly. Like, hey, I'm able to teach him reads. I'm able to teach him coverages, because it's basically 7-on-7. And
Right.
So you're still able to teach the fundamentals of the game, and being able to coach his team the past couple of years, 3 or 4 years I've been doing it now, has been awesome, because I can teach kids, this is how you read a hole. Like, we still have blockers. Instead of 5, it's only 3 O linemen that we play with. So you're able to teach the game and teach it the right way, and learning how to break down from a defensive standpoint, like not just running up and running wild and trying to pull a flag, like run up, break your feet down, be able to move side to side. Like, there's so many things when it comes to flag football from a fundamental standpoint that will correlate over to tackle football when they get to that standpoint. But knowing that everything I know about from a CTE standpoint and the brain not being fully developed until the age of about 25 now, that as a young kid, taking those hits on the brain and your head bouncing off the ground. And I mean, I can remember as a young kid getting hit and thinking, and I'm hurting right now. And the coach being, oh, you're fine. You got your bell rung. Just get back in there. And I'm thinking, damn, how many concussions did I actually have back then? So that's a tough part for me as a parent, and playing the game for so long and taking a lot of, big hits in my career, is just pushing my kid to go out there and just play tackle football, even though he wants to. I'm hesitant on that. And I'd like for him to play when he gets towards middle school. But for right now, playing flag football is fine with me.
Well, a lot of the stuff, in fact, I just got back from a teaching summit where a doctor that I teach and I talked about how the brain works and how people learn. And, you were talking there about flag football, and it applies to golf also. Like, and you and I've had this discussion about when you're like, you'll always say, well, how do I go practice it? But like slowing things down, there's no substitution for slow repetitions for learning something. And everybody wants to jump past that and go full speed. But and then you go back to the things that you've learned in your career and from the people you've been around and the coaches, and then there's no substitution for the details and for fundamentals. So if you can slow kids down playing flag football and they actually learn the fundamentals, same way with teaching golf. It's not the most fun, but making you learn to do stuff slow is the best way to learn.
Right. 100%. I mean, that's what I love about the game of golf. And heck, my 2 boys want to get into it, which is awesome. And they have clubs and they go outside and swing. But the game of golf really teaches you, which I wish I would have played at a much younger age. But it really teaches you to slow things down and really work on technique. And when you think about it, it relates to everything else, every other sport, because somebody can just toss you a ball, whether it's a football or baseball, and just say, hey, throw it. But they're not truly teaching you the right way to do it. So you go out there and just throw, and you're thinking you're throwing fine, but by the time you realize as you get older and nobody's ever truly slowed you down and shown you the correct way to do it, you're throwing sidearm, or you're having elbow issues, you're having rotator cuff issues because you've been throwing the wrong way and hurting your body for all these years. So being able to slow the game down and truly learn the correct way and the correct technique on how to do things and to be successful at it, right? Like, there's a ton of kids that I grew up with that were super athletic and could throw a football, 70 yards and could throw a baseball 90 miles an hour in high school. But couldn't put that 90-mile-an-hour fastball where they wanted to, couldn't put the football towards the right spot on the field. They can sling it a long ways, but yeah, can you throw the correct timing? Can you throw with accuracy? Like, those are all the things you need to be successful if you want to play the sport. And so that's the biggest thing for me is that I love about golf is being able to slow things down, work on it from a true technique standpoint, and then go out and after you've repped it 1,000 times, all right, now let's see and put it all together. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love golf.
And I think that, obviously playing under Saban, he's famous for the process, right? Talking about the process. And I think that helps you with your golf because you understand you actually enjoy doing the work and the slow stuff and understand that the payoff is down the road as it becomes part of what you do. And I think that's a great lesson for people wanting to get better at golf, really wanting to get better at anything, much less golf, is you've got to have some sort, you gotta, if you do, I always tell folks, if you do all the things, whether it's coaching golf or playing golf, like if you build the right foundation, you do the right things, like in the end, you'll get better.
Yep.
I always tell some of these young players, like if the money's going to come, if you take the right steps and you work hard and you do the right things, I mean, it normally the money takes care of itself, or playing good takes care of itself, instead of going out there trying to. Almost any time a player says, I've got to play good this week, it
never works out.
Good, right? Like I have to play good this week. But one thing, kind of like maybe the last question I wanted to go, but you mentioned when your first high school game, you talked about felt like they had 20 guys out there and it was going fast. I get that a lot from junior golfers or young pros, like the first real big tournament. Like, we don't think of golf as a fast-paced sport, but when you're out there in a tournament and it's only your name and writing your score and people are watching, your parents are watching or whatever, and then you hit a bad shot, you hit something into the woods, and then you got to figure out, shit starts to spiral and it gets going fast.
Yep.
How did you figure out how to slow it down? Because that's, to me, one of the harder things to teach young people. I don't know that there actually is a way to teach them, but what did you do to slow things down so you could make good decisions?
Yeah, I think everything for me is preparation. And I think it's fine to, have the butterflies in your stomach and be a little nervous, whether it's going into a tournament, whether it's going into a football game, whatever sport, or hell, in life in general, doing business, but knowing that you're prepared, that you've applied yourself to be prepared, I think calms that down as you start. Like for me in football, it was, I would be nervous leading up to, not extremely nervous, but you'd have those butterflies. And once I got hit, I'd always love to get hit. And once I got that hit the first time, it really calmed me down. And for golf, it's the same way. It's like, all right, listen, I'm going into today knowing there's going to be a low point in my game at some point. It's knowing that I've put in this work, especially now, I've put in this work. Trust my technique. Is it always going to be perfect? No. Do we want to be perfect as humans? And when it comes to the, a sport, of course. But just knowing reality that you're probably not going to play perfect at all times, and being able to not let that negativity and doubt creep into your mind. Listen, the mind's the strongest muscle in the human body. Like once that goes, everything else goes with it. So, we used to talk about it all the time with Scott Cochran when I was at Alabama, along with Coach Saban. But we would have like Navy SEALs come in and talk to us and talk about Hell Week and the amount of pressure they put on these young boys, but they want to see, what they can accept and what they can really take from a mental standpoint. Because if you can get through it mentally, then it's going to be a cakewalk in the end. Like nothing's going to bother you. Are you going to have tough times? Yes, but you'll be able to see your way out of those tough times as well. So, hell, I remember Coach Saban. He was always playing mind games with you, and I remember, as I got older, he told me, or when I correct myself, when I was young, he told me, he said, listen, if you can handle the mind games that I put you through, playing in front of 102,000 people in Death Valley, like at Tiger Stadium, that's nothing. So like worry about the things that you can control. Don't let doubt and things that you can't control creep into your mind, and then go out and apply yourself. Trust that your preparation, trust that you've done everything the right way up to this point. And then if you've done that, you're going to be fine. And then go out and just play your game. And I think that applies to, especially the game of golf, is coming up to the first tee and tee box, and all of a sudden you're thinking you're going to hit a draw, and now you hit a big slice, and being able to calm yourself down leading up to that second shot and saying, all right, listen, I'm not in the spot I wanted to be in, but this is what I got to do now, and trusting my technique to get back to the point to save par, or at least, maybe only lose one shot and bogey. Don't turn this possible par or bogey into a triple.
Right.
So, and really put myself behind the 8 ball. So being able to trust your technique and trust yourself, and, don't let the negativity get into your mind is huge.
One of the things I think that, golf, I try to ask me, I want you to practice and try to make it perfect when you practice.
Right.
But then when you go play, I want you to play. Yeah. Right. And you got to be able to react to what's going on and do the best. Like you said, make decisions based on what's in front of you and what you're doing that day and all that. And I mean, to me, football would be very similar. I mean, when you go, but then when you're in the game, you're reacting and you're playing, and the understanding that too, like in golf, you don't have to be perfect to shoot a good score, right? Like you don't have to make a perfect golf swing. You don't have to hit it perfectly the way. There's lots of different ways for that thing to add up at the end.
Yep. Yeah. Hell, I've had plenty of coaches throughout my career tell me, it's better to be lucky than good sometimes. Listen, we always talk about members bounce in the game of golf, or somebody's paid their dues when they hit it into the trees and all of a sudden it's back in the middle of the fairway. Like you need some of that. So, and listen, I absolutely love the game of golf. I think it teaches you, especially myself, a level of patience, that you might not always have in the game of football. And it's really taught me a lot, and I absolutely love the game.
Last question. Was Saban always hard on you playing mind games, or was he different in practice versus games?
Yeah, games, he really didn't listen, he wanted you to be as perfect as possible, but he also understood the game we play is not going to be perfect. Now, when it came to practice and scrimmages and things like that, he was going to put you in situations that you weren't comfortable. And he always used to say, you guys have to learn being comfortable in the uncomfortable scenario. So, I think that, really helped us as a team, helped me personally from a practice standpoint, and then taking it over to the game is, listen, after you throw a pick, you got to be able to come back out the next play and rip another pass and trust that it's going to be the right read and trust that it's going to be in the right spot and everything else. So he was definitely harder in practice than he ever was in games.
I think that translates to golf, and it's the same as, you snipe hook to drive into the water. I mean, you got to trust what you do and stand up there on the next tee shot and hit one down the middle, right?
Yep.
AJ, this was awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time. I know you got a bunch going on. I'm looking forward to hanging out and watching us fix your club face a little more today and get you ready.
Yeah.
Get you ready for that 4-ball you're playing in tomorrow. But
yep.
Appreciate the time. Look forward to hanging out soon, buddy.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.